Okay, so today we're reviewing chapter 5.5 and 5.6 for your test tomorrow. And the first section is on proving triangles are congruent by one of these choices. Side, angle, side, 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 or angle, side, angle. So number one, I noticed that these triangles share this line. That means that side is congruent. So I can name that these two triangles are congruent by angle, side, angle. Okay, let's look at number two. Again, you're looking at whatever is marked and you're going in order that it's marked. So angle, side, angle again. These are examples that you haven't taken yet. So these are just examples to help you prepare for the test. Okay, so number three, we could actually name in two different ways. Because what do we know about this side right here? It's what? Yeah, it's the same in both triangles. So what's one way that we could name this triangle? Okay, side, angle, side is one way. What's another way? Okay, so another way to name these two triangles are congruent is side, side, side. All their sides are the same. So, side, side, side. Either one of those would be acceptable. Both is a bonus. Okay, so number four. I only see two sides marked, but what else is the same in these two triangles? Which one? But which angles? There's three angles in each triangle. What? Ethan, what'd you say? Okay, so we said that these two angles are congruent, but we don't know why they're congruent. So, they're congruent because they are called vertical angles. When two angles are directly across from each other like that, they're vertical angles, they're the same measure. So how can I name that these two triangles are congruent?
Side, angle, side.
Good. Side, angle, side. Okay? Okay, so they give us this statement in the directions. Triangle MNO is congruent to triangle STU. And we have to match up the congruent angles and the congruent segments. So remember, we don't need a picture. We just have to look. Whatever is in the same position as this M is going to be congruent to the M. Yes. So angle M is congruent to angle S.
A is U.
Yes, so angle O is congruent to angle U because they're in the same position.
9 is T.
Yep, 9 is going to be angle T because N is in the middle and T is in the middle. So those two are congruent.
Wait.
For the segments, you're doing the same thing. Since MN are the first two letters, it's going to be ST because they're the first two letters on the other triangle. How about NO?
It's TU.
It's TU. James is hogging all the answers today. All right, and then for the last one, MO.
SU. SU.
SU. Good. Because they match. All right. Okay, so we just had a fire drill, and we're back at it, but I'm by myself now. So on this section, 5-6 for quadrilaterals, they're going to give us a picture of a quadrilateral, and they're going to say, refer to the parallelogram DARK. So they're telling us it's a parallelogram. That means I immediately know that opposite sides are congruent and opposite angles are congruent. All right, I also know that the diagonals bisect each other. I know it doesn't look like it in my picture, but use your imagination. So this one is the same size as this one, and this one is the same size as this one, okay? And then I'm just going to look at the information they give me and answer the question. So number 13 says DA equals 8. So if DA equals 8, how much is RK? Well, remember, opposite sides are congruent. So if DA is 8, RK is 8 also. The next one, DR is 18. Here is DR, and it's asking how much is DX. So if the whole piece is 18, how much is half of the piece? Well, I'm just going to divide it in 2. Half of 18 is 9. Okay? The next one, RAD is 81. So it says RAD is 81. So how much is DKR? So I'm going to highlight angle DKR. I notice that they are opposite of each other, and we know that opposite angles are congruent. So if this one is 81, then this one is 81. And then the last one, now every time I do this, I highlight the angles because you need to be able to visually see what angle they're talking about. So on the test, if you need to draw something out, draw it out, okay? Use a whiteboard, use a piece of paper, it doesn't matter. But better safe than sorry. So it says ADK. ADK is this one, is 60. So how much is DKR? Okay, so now we're talking about 2 different kinds of angles. These are not opposite each other, so they're not the same. They're next to each other. So one rule about angles that are next to each other in a parallelogram is that they equal 180 degrees. Consecutive angles equal 180. Remember, the whole thing equals 360. But I'm going to use this information to help me with this problem because it's easier. You could use 360, you could add 60 plus 60, subtract it from 360, and then divide it by 2, and you'll get the same answer that I get by just subtracting 60 from 180. So I'm going to do 180 minus 60. It equals 120. Because consecutive angles are supplementary or equal 180 degrees. And that was one of our properties in the quadrilateral section. Okay? So the other way to do that one would just be to add 60 and 60, which is 120. Subtract it from 360, which is 240. And then divide it by 2, which is 120. Okay, so you can see that this way is a lot faster and easier. Just remember, consecutive angles equal 180. All right, and make sure you pay attention to what angles they're asking you for, so you don't just randomly assume it's the opposite and put a 60 and now you got the problem wrong. Okay, so that's all for the review. If you want to make a note card, that's totally fine. It needs to be a 3x5 note card for the test. And you have to have it made when you walk in the door. And then David, if you want to make one, just send me a picture of the note card after the test so I can see what you used on the test when you took it. And that's it. Let me know if you have any questions.